And I think it was in the midnight, and they were caught up by the fire. They could not escape, so the fire consumed them. I think the reason, first of all, why I started working with the people, with the waste picker, is because I understood what they are doing and what I'm doing is almost similar. You know, I'm fighting against plastic pollution. They are addressing the issues of plastic pollution by making recycling possible. And it's not always a very good environment to work in because of the toxic emissions that come from the waste itself. Sometimes you also see medical waste being dumped here, and basically all kinds of waste. And people working here are exposed to very dangerous types of waste and chemicals. Before it began raining, there was a lot of burning fire here, and the smokes were too much. And you can imagine what the waste pickers were going through, you know, and the smoke contains a lot of dioxin, furans, and other chemicals that can either exacerbate respiratory problem, cancers, cardiovascular diseases, and can also bring up new diseases like tuberculosis, among other respiratory issues. I really want to call them a marginalized group of people, a marginalized community. The government does not support them, and then they are thrown in the fringes of the society. And I think the government, the society needs to embrace these people, support them, and especially what I do campaigning for plastic waste. The industries that champion or produce plastics need to work closely with the waste pickers, because it is waste pickers who are getting into such dumping sites or our natural environments that are polluted, and then they are trying to retrieve that plastic and taking it back to recycling, thereby, you know, promoting circularity or recycling. So the people doing it are waste pickers, and we need to support them, listen to them, give them medical covers if need be, just to make sure that their health is good. We can try support them in, for example, having PPEs, gloves, masks, gumboots, so that they don't find themselves in a situation where they can contract diseases or can be exposed to diseases from toxic things in this dumping site. Most waste pickers in this landfill or this dumping site stay adjacent to the Gioto Dumpsite fence. So they live here, they wake up in the dumping site, they do their work here, in the evening they go back to their homes. When there was intense fire burning here, 2 young men died here where they lived. You know, their house was adjacent to the dumping site. And I think it was in the midnight, and they were caught up by the fire. They could not escape, so the fire consumed them, both of them, and they died. Must have been a very painful death. And when people complained, because I talked to the residents, they tried to raise their voice. I think the fire engine came too late, and they were not able to be assisted. They also lost a lot of property. There are people who rear animals here. They lost their animals, lots of pigs. And I think 1 month later, somebody else also was consumed by a fire right inside this dumping site. The waste pickers here are not paid by anybody. They hustle for themselves. Everything they do here is for their own livelihoods. They wake up, collect garbage. If they're collecting plastics, they collect plastics to sell to people who buy plastics. If they are here to collect textiles or glass or wood, they are doing that to sell, to make a livelihood for themselves. And sometimes they could make a bare minimum of say 200 to 300 shillings. You know, very little amount of money to support them. So they are not able to, you know, to pay for something like insurance, NHIF, or other kinds of insurances, because it's too costly for them. You know, so theirs is hand to mouth. When they get sick sometime and they go to hospital, sometimes they are told to buy expensive medicine. But since those medicines have been dumped in the landfill, they just go and pick the medicines in the dumping site. The passion that I have for doing what I do, it's something I also don't know where it comes from. It's immense. Sometimes I want to stop it, but I find myself going. maybe I find myself going because of part from the back from many people that I may never see, a tweet, a message on Facebook, an Instagram inbox, just somebody say you're doing a good job. But I do that specifically because I feel we need to do much more in terms of environmental awareness. We need to do much more to bring waste pickers on board to, for their own welfare as they protect the environment. Because what they are doing, they may not know, promoting or making recycling possible, that they are helping the environment, which is everybody's business, but they do it more because they are earning a living from it. And I feel, they are environmentalists number one. If we listen to them, we involved them, we brought them on the table to discuss their issues and also environmental issues, to discuss about recycling, because I think recycling is the biggest issue that is being discussed now, and these are the drivers of recycling. Without them, really, there wouldn't be recycling.